Welcome and congratulations! You have successfully completed the eligibility process for the Housing Choice Voucher Program, also known as Section 8, through the Monterey County Housing Authority. This video briefing is the last step before receiving the voucher. Over the next few minutes, we'll explain how the program works, what your responsibilities are, what to expect, and how to use Rent Cafe to manage your account. Please pay close attention and take notes if you wish. We're here to support you every step of the way. Before diving into the details of the program, we want to start with an overview of how responsibilities are shared in the Housing Choice Voucher Program. This chart provides an overview of the responsibilities of HACM, you as a tenant, and your future landlord. It's designed to show, at a glance, where the responsibility falls, whether it's paying rent, maintaining the unit, or notifying changes. As we move into today's briefing, we'll be looking at each of these areas in more detail, so don't worry if you have any questions right now. We'll talk about all of this step by step. The Housing Choice Voucher Program helps low-income individuals, families, seniors, and people with disabilities afford safe, decent, and sanitary housing in the private market. It gives you the freedom to choose where to live, beyond public housing, as long as the unit meets the program's standards. HACM pays a portion of your rent directly to the landlord. You are responsible for your contribution known as the tenant portion, which is dependent on your income. Once approved, you'll sign a lease with the landlord, and HACM will also sign a Housing Assistance Payment (HAP) agreement with the landlord. The combination of the rent payment and the HACM subsidy ensures that you only pay an affordable portion of your income for rent. Let's break down how HACM calculates your eligibility and rent. We start with your gross annual income, which combines your total household income from all sources. From there, we apply deductions for things like dependents and medical expenses. The result is your adjusted annual income. Your monthly adjusted income determines how much you can pay toward rent, typically 30% to 40% of your adjusted income. We also factor in a utility allowance. If you pay for utilities, you get credit toward your affordability calculation. As a voucher participant, you must pay the tenant's share of the rent on time each month. Follow the terms of your lease. Notify HACM of changes in your income, household, or contact information. Allow annual inspections. Attend all scheduled appointments and submit documents promptly to obtain annual recertifications. Use HACM's online secured Rent Cafe to keep in touch with your housing specialist caseworker and complete the key steps of the program. Here are some common mistakes that can put your voucher at risk. Not reporting changes in income quickly. Allowing unauthorized individuals to live in your unit. Not showing up for scheduled appointments. Not following deadlines for processing paperwork or recertifying. Staying aware of these responsibilities and complying with program requirements is the best way to protect your voucher and avoid interruptions in housing assistance. A landlord who accepts vouchers must also follow guidelines to stay compliant within the program. A landlord must maintain the unit to meet Housing Quality Standards (HQS), charge fair and market-based rents, sign a Housing Assistance Payment (HAP) agreement with HACM. Both the landlord and you as the tenant play an important role in the success of a lease. When you use your voucher to rent a unit, your lease agreement must include something called a HUD Tenancy Addendum. This attachment is not just another document. It's a critical part of your lease agreement that helps protect you and protect the integrity of the Housing Choice Voucher Program. It is also required by federal law and must be attached to your lease. Here's what it covers. It voids any part of the lease that conflicts with HUD rules. This means that if there is a clause in the lease that doesn't follow the program's regulations, the HUD rules will always take precedence. Clearly outlines your rights as a voucher holder, so you know what protections exist for you under federal housing law. It also explains the responsibilities of your landlord and HACM, making sure that everyone involved in the lease is on the same page. This ensures that federal protections, such as those related to discrimination, eviction procedures, and more, fully apply to your lease. You will receive a copy of the lease attachment in your lease package, and we strongly recommend that you read it carefully. Here's how to move forward. 1. Look for a unit that accepts housing vouchers. 2. Complete a request for tenancy approval (RFTA) with the landlord. 3. Submit the RFTA to HACM, it must be fully completed. Any incomplete RFTAs will not be accepted and inspections will not be scheduled. 4. HACM will inspect the unit. 5. If the unit is approved, you'll sign your lease and move in. Keep in mind that your voucher is valid for up to 120 days. Your initial deadline is 60 days. If you need more time, you can request up to 2 30-day extensions, but you must submit a search log for the first 60 days. All extension requests must be submitted in writing before the expiration date. After that, the possibility of granting more time can only be considered if a reasonable accommodation is made. Vouchers that have already expired are not eligible for a hearing. Remember, you are responsible for keeping track of the expiration date on your voucher and for requesting an extension if necessary. Here are some tips when looking for housing. Visit websites such as apartments.com, Zillow, HotPads, and Craigslist. Be sure to watch out for scams. Drive around neighborhoods and look at signs that say for rent. Contact property management companies directly. Spread the word to family, friends, and local community organizations that may be able to help you with your search. Remember to keep in mind that your rent plus utilities must meet HACM payment standards. Check with your housing specialist caseworker before committing to a unit. The request for tenancy approval, also known as an RFTA, is the document that HACM needs to approve your new unit. Here are some important details to remember. The landlord completes most of the form. You are responsible for ensuring that it is complete. A lack of landlord contact information, rent amounts, or utility details will delay your move. Before submitting your RFTA to HACM, make sure that it shows the landlord's name and telephone number, the amount of the requested rent, public service responsibilities. A complete and accurate RFTA speeds up the process. The standard of payment is not the maximum rent a landlord can charge. Instead, it's the maximum amount of assistance HACM can provide you with to pay your rent. HACM uses a method called rent reasonableness to determine if renting a unit is acceptable. For example, if a 3-bedroom unit in your zip code is determined to be worth $2,000, but the landlord wants to charge you $2,500, HACM will not approve it. We also need to make sure that you, the renter, don't pay more than 40% of your adjusted income for rent. Before you move and once a year, HACM will inspect your unit to ensure that it meets health and safety standards. You'll also need to complete an annual recertification to update your household and income information. It is necessary to submit documents on time to stay in the program. HACM uses a secure online portal called Rent Cafe to help you manage your voucher and more. With Rent Cafe, you can upload documents, report changes in household or income, send messages directly to your caseworker, keep track of inspection and recertification dates. If it's your first time using Rent Cafe, make sure you use a personal email address. Ensure that you follow the setup instructions in your briefing packet. Clearly label all uploads so it's legible. Make sure to check your Rent Cafe account regularly for updates and appointments. Want to move outside of Monterey County? Your voucher is portable with specific guidelines to ensure a successful port out. Here's what you need to do. You must live in Monterey County for at least 12 months before you can request portability. After that, you may request to move anywhere in the U.S. where another housing authority administers the program. Talk to your caseworker for more information. Keep in mind that porting can take several weeks depending on the receiving housing authority's processing time. Make sure your current voucher doesn't expire during the portability process. You have the right to fair and equal treatment when searching for housing. Federal law prohibits discrimination based on race, color, national origin, religion, sex, disability, or familial status. If you think you have been discriminated against, report it to HACM or HUD right away. In addition, the Violence Against Women Act, also known as VAWA, offers protections if you or a family member is a survivor of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking. Under VAWA, you cannot be denied or lose your voucher because you are a victim. You may request an emergency move or lease separation from an abuser. HACM will support you confidentially and connect you with resources. VAWA protections apply to all genders. If you feel your rights are violated, contact HACM or file a complaint with HUD. We just reviewed your rights under Fair Housing Laws and the Violence Against Women Act, which are in place to protect you and ensure you're treated fairly and safely while using your voucher. With those protections also come responsibilities. It's important to understand that there are certain actions or violations that can result in your voucher being terminated. Let's talk about what can put your voucher at risk. If you do any of the following, your voucher could be terminated. Threatening staff or your neighbors. Not paying your portion of the rent. Failing to keep your utilities on. Letting people live in your unit who aren't approved. Not reporting changes in your income or who's living in your household. Causing damage to your unit. Using or allowing drugs, including marijuana. Although the use of cannabis is legal in California, the Housing Choice Voucher program follows federal law, and under federal law, marijuana is still illegal. So that means no marijuana use, possession, or growing in or near your subsidized unit. Doing so could result in losing your housing assistance. If you ever have questions or need help understanding these rules, reach out to your caseworker. We're here to help you stay on track. Now that your briefing is complete, it's time to begin your housing search. Review your packet for voucher expiration date, instructions on how to submit your RFTA, your Rent Cafe login details, contact information for HACM and your housing program specialist caseworker. Start your search and submit your paperwork as soon as possible. Thousands of families have successfully used their vouchers to find safe, stable housing, and you can too. Like Maria Rico, a single mom who found a home just minutes from her kids' school in just a few weeks. Or Rad Vouch, who moved closer to his job and cut his daily commute in half. With determination, a good plan, and support from the Housing Authority of the County of Monterey, your success story can start today. Let's begin your journey. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We know the Housing Choice Voucher journey can feel overwhelming at times, but we want you to know you're not in this alone. HACM is here to support you, every step of the way. Our goal is to help you access safe, stable, and affordable housing, and to make sure you feel informed and empowered throughout the process. Whether you're just starting your search or narrowing down your options, remember that success comes with patience, persistence, and staying connected. Make it a habit to check your Rent Cafe account often. It's the best way to stay updated on deadlines, messages from your caseworker, and important documents. If you ever feel unsure or stuck, don't wait, reach out to your housing specialist. We're here to guide you, answer your questions, and help you stay on track. Congratulations again on receiving your voucher. We're excited to see where your journey takes you, and we're honored to be part of it. Now, go find your new home, and happy housing search.